Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bright Founders Talk at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. My name's Matthew, and I'm joined today by Jonas, who is the co-founder and CEO of AskUI. How are you today, Jonas?
Doing great. Thanks, Matt, for the invitation. So really looking forward to this talk today. So doing quite well. How are you?
Good stuff. No, can't complain. Jonas, before we get going, can you tell us a little bit about AskUI? Give us a brief overview.
Sure. So we're a startup based in Karlsruhe in Germany. So what we do is basically prompt to automation, or we are in the automation business. So you can think of automating all the B2B processes you have in mind. We like to call it, maybe if you give ChatGPT a mouse, a keyboard, and some eyes, and then you can basically prompt your instruction and perform actions. Of course, we are not there yet. So what we have right now is we take different kind of machine learning models for automation of all different kind of cases, mainly focusing on test automation for software right now.
Okay, interesting. So we're going to dive into a little bit of that. So I'm not technically minded at all, so I'm going to have a couple of questions about that for you. How long have you been at AskUI, Jonas?
Oh yeah, that's actually quite a long story right now. So I studied industrial engineering and management I finished back in 2020, and actually I started working on AskUI with my co-founder Dominic back in 2019, actually end of 2019. So it started as a research project there. We developed basically the first iteration of the solution with some customers, then went full-time end of 2020 with some governmental funding, and then started really digging in. So the incorporation was then early 2021, and since then we are basically on a VC track. So we are VC backed, just closing our second round. Cannot talk too much about it right now, but growing right now, I guess, like growth stories since beginning of 2021. That's like really digging in.
Okay, nice. So that's terrific. So you started in 2019, and are things starting to pick up now? You say things are starting to grow, things are moving forward?
Yeah. So actually, like the overall market conditions are not the greatest, as you might know right now. So also for startups, I think early stage is still pretty fine. For us, really what's starting to see is like that our software gets used more often. So one of our key metrics we track is the usage actually of our product, and like within clients right now and also with new clients. And I think it was a long time of really nailing the product to a specific stage where you could say, okay, customers actually find like a lot of value in it and are actually looking to use it more and more. And we are seeing the first results there for sure. So we are doubling usage every month right now, basically, which is great for us. But it was like a long journey until then, because like you kind of iterate through it, and your customers always tell you what they want and what they see, what's missing. It's not always super clear for like, you cannot just go and like implement everything what the customer asks for, because then you have like not the greatest solution out there. So you really have to dig deep into the problems and see, okay, what kind of problems do you actually solve, or what kind of problems does the customer actually have when they request a specific product feature? And I think we are right now on a very good track of understanding.
So you've got a little bit of a gap then between finding the problem and finding the solution. And you say it's not always easy. What are some of the challenges that you've faced with your growth over the last few years?
Like we were not in the most easiest markets. So in the beginning, we really focused on test automation. Basically, like if you don't know the test automation market, test automation specific describes the process of like testing software products before they get released. And test automation is just like automating this kind of specific part of the software development lifecycle. It's not the easiest market because the value you get for the customer is not like quantifiable, because like if there's a bug or not a bug, of course you lose value in a product, but it's not like really measurable. So that was a challenge for us to like in the beginning to really get the budgets and really put on like faster sales cycles and like to calculate for the customer, okay, like how much value you actually get in numbers out of our product. So as we are switching more towards general automation cases, so like in B2B process, like for example, it can be invoice processing, ERP automation, like migrating or connecting different kind of applications which don't have like API access, like all that kind of stuff. As we are focusing more on that, that's really like quantifiable. So that's really nice to have, that you can put a number on a specific value your product does, and that was really challenging in the beginning, I would say.
Okay, and it's getting easier now. You've done it a few times. You're finding some sort of a rhythm, some sort of a system that is making things easier for you. Tell me a little bit more about the development of the company. How many people are there at the moment?
Right now we are 12 full-time employees, or full-time equivalents, so to say. We have a few part-time, but we are actually growing to 16 people right now. So we just started hiring again. Mainly, like if you look at our organization, it's still like very product focused and very engineering heavy. So we do have like almost all of them are engineers. We have one in sales and one in DevRel and one assistant basically. And that's it besides of like engineering. And engineering, we have 3 separated teams, like one specifically for machine learning, one specifically for all the cloud stuff, and one specifically for like the core development of our basic technology, like automating really operating systems and stuff like that.
Okay, so still very much development orientated, as you say.
Yes.
Tell me something, when it comes to looking for people to join your team, this is obviously something that's dear to your heart. When you start something that you're passionate about, when you're building a company, there's certain things that you would look for in employees, in people joining your team. What sort of stuff is important to you when it comes to choosing teammates?
Yeah, actually, it's a great question, because like we just went through the hiring process with a lot of people again, and we asked ourselves this kind of questions all the time. I think from what I learned now in my experience, like the best performing employees you can hire for a startup, for such an early stage startups, have like some kind of drive to build something, to actually like they are motivated to change something in the world, and they don't care too much about the salary, like, I don't know, like the job position. We actually like to ask one kind of questions during our interviews, which is what kind of job position do you want to have? And actually like which kind of job position do you want to be in like 5 years? So everyone who is like interviewing with us, maybe I'll give you the answer now, but we actually want to look for people who don't want to be like, okay, I'm a junior right now, in 5 years for sure I want to be manager. For example, if you hire for engineering, don't want to hire that guy who says like, okay, I'm a junior right now, I don't know anything, but in 5 years I want to be a people manager, that's my goal. Or if you hire for more senior positions, what we like to challenge is if they really want a specific title or position. Because, for example, there's like, if you hire from corporates, it's like a different kind of game. Like in a startup, you really have to do everything, and like the title really doesn't matter for your position. It's like the work you do and not the title. And in a corporate, you go the ladder with the title. So we try to filter for the people who only join a company for the titles. For example, if they say, okay, I need to be head of this department, it's like, they can't go back to a senior position or like some kind of other position, then it's probably not the best fit for us.
That's an interesting way of looking at things, and I understand it completely. And something interesting that you spoke about there, you said, looking at people that are motivated. What is your motivation? What gets you up every day? What gets you going, keeps you going?
So I think like my personal vision here aligns with the vision of the company. So our vision for the company is to be able, or to enable a world where humans are freed from being robots. So we want to create a world where basically every repetitive work, like for now in the digital world, is basically automated. So you don't have to do any kind of that stuff. So I strongly believe that you can create a world where automation is the driving factor of the economy, and you don't need a lot of human work involved to actually drive the economy per se. So you create value just out of automation. And basically I want to make that happen. I think we are going there, and I want to be part of it and like be one kind of piece in the overall puzzle of making this possible.
All right. So there's a lot of work going on there, and obviously it is quite a big goal. It's a very broad goal. Well, tell me a bit about your work-life balance. Do you have much of a work-life balance?
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't track my working hours, to be honest. So I cannot really put a number on like how many hours I work each day. So my day typically starts at around 8. So I'm not like the earliest worker out there. So I like to actually work in the afternoon or in the evening more than I do like in the morning. I try to do sports actually, so I think this helps a lot. So I play tennis from time to time, try to make some free time there, but there are weeks where I just like work from Monday to Sunday, like every day, 10 hours or so. Can also happen. Depends on the time of when, like, what are you doing right now? If you're fundraising, you basically don't have any work-life balance at all. If you're like, August is actually a good month. So a lot of people are on vacation, so it's a bit more quiet and you can focus on like internal processes more. I try to make time for myself from time to time, but I cannot really put a number on it.
Okay. It's interesting. I get a lot of different answers when I ask that question, and it's always interesting to see how certain things work for certain people.
Yeah.
Some people, as I said to somebody recently, for some people it's 8 hours work, 8 hours life, 8 hours sleep. Some people don't count. Some people live their work. So it's interesting to see all the variations. Now, tell me, we spoke a little bit about your motivation. And tell me about the future of AskUI. Where do you see yourselves going?
Yeah, so we basically just closed the seed round. I cannot really talk about it too much, but so we are looking to grow with that new money, basically to like 25 people over the next few months, years, let's say. So as I said, we started in test automation for like this really technical use case. And now we are moving towards this general automation processes, especially like with a target on enterprise automation. You could call it intelligent automation, RPA, some kind of use cases there. So we are starting to dig into that market because like a lot of people pull our solution for that. And what we want to achieve is like really enable, like, all the agents probably with ChatGPT where you just try to put something in there and then it works on web and scrape stuff. So we are doing that basically for native applications. So like for enterprise grade applications which are not running in the cloud. It's like a bit more challenging from a technological standpoint, but we want to bring a first solution out there by next year for few enterprises where we want to roll it out and then really scale with that from there. So, and for the future, we definitely plan for an IPO somewhere in the future. I don't know when, but it will happen probably somewhere.
Nice. Good. So you're building a nice, strong team around you. Things are starting to come together, and you have a big, bold plan for the future. And let's take a few steps back again. Okay. We'll go a little bit further back. Tell me a little bit about where you started. Let's maybe go back to your college, university, when you were studying. Did you know this is what you wanted to do? Were you always in this sort of mind frame? Did it happen by chance? Let's start with the roots.
Actually, if we go back all the way, I would say like the first time I tried to really or had a touch point with the like entrepreneurship startup ecosystem, it was during my high school diploma, where with a colleague, or like not a colleague, like a friend of mine and me, during our final exam, we decided to start a company and like ditch the whole exam thing. So we really studied for that, but instead drove to Berlin to a startup conference. Funny enough, we didn't went through with that idea. It was a nightmare, so we then started anyways. But here's a startup right now in Greece, which is really successful, and I started my company as well now. And we still have contact. Yeah, from there, I just studied industrial engineering. Didn't like after that, wasn't sure what to do. Like I wanted to do industrial engineering, but I didn't say okay, I want to start a company. But it was always in the back of my mind. And then during my master's, actually, so I was working part-time during my studies all the time. And during my master's, I met my co-founder now, Dominic, during a entrepreneurship lecture, basically. And we realized that we really can work well together, and we were closer to finishing our studies. He was working full-time already next to his studies at Siemens. And he had brought this problem of test automation from Siemens there because they really had it in their team, pitched it to me. I had no idea of the industry whatsoever. So I knew it a bit from like my programming experience or like my programming knowledge, but didn't really was too much into the test automation field, because like normally you wouldn't touch that field as a fresh graduate. It's like more of a kind of industry specific stuff. But yeah, we worked well together, and then we decided next to ourselves, okay, let's do some research. We actually both are interested in how like startups work, how companies work, how companies are built. And then we decided to just start. In the beginning, it was a startup competition where we joined, where we really forced ourselves to participate, and we made ourselves accountable for like at least getting into the final, which we also achieved here. And then we basically went step by step, growing the startup, learning more, got some funding for it, and then we decided to join full time, try it, and didn't regret it so far. Yeah,
Nicely done. That's pretty cool. I like the attitude in the beginning. Just, you know what, never mind these exams. This is what we're going to do, and going out and taking a chance. And it looks like that's paying off. It looks like it's working for you. So congratulations. So things happened really quickly from what I can understand. One thing led to another. What are some of the things you learned about yourself and your abilities through this journey?
What I learned is like how to manage people, how to hire people. It's like really what you cannot do it in the beginning, like just out of the box. It's like really something you have to work out, like how to communicate correctly. Always like first startups have some communication issues with like first employees or stuff like that. It worked out great for us, but we really tried to learn a lot about that. What else? Like I learned for myself personally that like opinions from other people are not really that important that much. So like in the beginning, a lot of people were telling us, okay, this won't work. You can stop the company. It doesn't matter. Like, why are you doing this? Stuff like that. But we always, like, I was listening to them and stuff like that, and to a lot of other people who were supposedly really well known in the industry and stuff like that. But in the end, we forced ourselves to do it anyways, and it worked for us. So what I learned now is like, if you get a lot of opinions, and you will get a lot of opinions during like the first years of your startup, try to sort through them and don't take everything too serious. Everyone is telling you. Really look at what kind of knowledge has this person, what did he do in his past, is his opinion or like his feedback valuable? I think that is something like rather focus on a thing you really believe in than like too much listening to other people telling you stuff. I think like that was a major learning.
So that's interesting. How do you do that? How do you filter through? How do you know if the advice someone's giving you is going to be beneficial to you or not? What are some of the ways that we can do this?
Asking other people who work together with this this advice giver or like advisor or whatsoever. Like I like to talk to founders. Like that's actually one of the best advice I can give. Like try to talk to other founders which are ahead of your time in the journey. So like if you're raising a pre-seed, try to talk to founders who raised a seed, or if you are raising a seed, try to talk to founders which are raising a Series A and stuff like that, and try to find the people who work together with those people who are giving you advice and stuff like that, and see like what they learned from him or from them, if it's valuable, what they achieved with it. And other than that, I cannot really like. I think it's mainly gut feeling somehow. Also, I think you just have to have a bit of luck as well, probably.
Yep. And Something that it comes across that's very important to you with this, and we know that there's a lot of contention when it comes to artificial intelligence and computers doing human work. But one of the themes that I see is quite recurring is you mention a lot that you want to automate processes. Let me get this right. Automate processes or automate intentions, not interactions.
Yeah.
So you still want to keep that human element alive. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So actually, it's very vague what we formulate there. So what is actually intention? So I think like one of the major issues right now with the current automation solutions is that they are very rule-based and very fixed. So example, if you want to automate some kind of invoicing process, you have to specify at what position what invoice is for what invoice number is for what specific template, for example. And you really also in Zapier you specifically sell very rule based. Okay, this touch like this specific step has to be done like this, and then this data has to be done entered like this and stuff like that. But the problem is this rule based system is like not applicable for a lot of processes in the real world where human decision is involved. For example, we just had like this nice example where people try to validate on signatures, and people have to look like they get a lot of documents each day, and they have to, before they can enter stuff into their ERP system, they have to move through a lot of signatures manually to decide if they are valid or not. And your intent in that case would be, still, I want to enter the data into the ERP system, but I cannot work with a rule-based system because it really doesn't know like if a signature is valid. It's like more of there's no specific rule which says this signature is like more valid than the other. It's like rather a gut feeling from someone with experience who knows, so there might be something fishy with this one. So let me have another look. And if you want to automate processes like these, you need some kind of machine learning involved, which can take decisions like this, and is not based on like those kind of fixed rules, and is allowed to change the process a bit. And that's what we are meaning by like automating intentions instead of like specific steps. I want to only click here and here, but I rather want to automate this whole intent of like entering that kind of stuff into there with like all the decisions I have to make on the way, and let the machine take those decisions as well. And I think that's the challenge, and that's what we're trying to solve.
Okay, well, interesting. I like that. So it's keeping the human element, but taking out some of the, as you said, I see on the website, taking out some of the, not stopping humans from being robots, taking that sort of stuff out of us. So that's cool. I'm going to ask you a couple quick fire questions, a couple fun ones before we close off. Any words of wisdom? So the way I like to phrase this is, we're going to stick this on a big board above your bed. Okay, you have to see it every day. What are the words that we put up there?
Challenge your assumptions. Always focus on your vision. Have a really large vision, and try to focus it on that vision, I would say. Yeah.
Nice. What about role models? Do you have a role model, Jonas? Who did you look up to?
I actually don't have a role model right now. Like, probably the best role model for me was my dad.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about him?
Sure. So
if it's okay.
Yeah, sure. So he started, like, he basically didn't have that much money back in the day. And then he still went to do his PhD, like, through a really long journey, and he really stuck to that. And now he's like, it's not professor, but like he's working at the university, giving lectures, stuff like that. And next to it, he always worked part-time, like as a freelancer in the field, and really, I don't know, like he always helped me back then when I grew up, like with building. So I did a bit of electrical engineering. So I was like doing soldering solutions when I was a kid and stuff like that, on some kind of boards, developing some kind of small solution, stuff like that. And he always teach me like how to do that. We in a small laboratory at home, like try to come up with creative solutions and teach me like the first basics of electrical engineering. And I think that like this kind of attitude of like I can build stuff on my own, I think I got this from him. So, and I think that's what you need to actually build a company, because in the end you're building stuff all the time and you don't want to talk too much all the time. You really want to build. So I think I have this trait from him, I would say. And I don't know, now I just like, I follow my vision rather than other people.
Nice. I like that. It's quite deep and meaningful. I think that's probably one of the more personal ones that I've heard. So thank you for sharing that with us. If I came to you, I'm going to start a business. I'm, fresh, as they say, wet behind the ears. And I come to you and I say, Jonas, my friend, I'm going to start a company tomorrow. What are your first words of advice for me?
Yeah. First one would be talk to your customer. So I think like this is a pretty basic one you hear like all the time, but if you're doing software or stuff, like don't develop a solution yet. Try to challenge the solution you have. So again, like challenge your assumption is like the correct thing. Like if you think I can sell the thing in that specific market, challenge it first before you build it by talking to customers and sell a PowerPoint or something like that. I don't know.
Nice. I like that. And if we can, I think that's about it. If there's anything, Jonas, that you'd like to add, anything you'd like to tell us about, can we follow you on LinkedIn? Can we keep up to date with your progress?
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn, just my name. Basically, I think I'm the only one with that name. Jonas Menesklou. As well as Twitter, you can follow me there, but I'm not that active. X.com. So rather LinkedIn if you want to follow me. And always reach out to me if you have any kind of questions. I'm always up for some chats and talks.
That's fantastic, Jonas. I just want to say on behalf of Temi and the team, thank you so much for joining us today, providing some insight into yourself, your company, and the journey that you've been on. And we wish you the best of luck for the future.
Thank you. It was great